Have you ever felt like your mind is a storm, chaotic, loud, unrelenting? Have you ever asked yourself, why can't I just be at peace? In a world full of stress, noise, and constant demands, it's easy to forget what calm feels like. But over 2,500 years ago, under the Bodhi tree, a young man discovered something timeless, something powerful. The wisdom of the Buddha holds secrets not just for monks or sages, but for you and me. Today, I'll share with you a tale of transformation based on Buddhist wisdom. It's a story of a boy named Anu who once struggled with anger, sorrow, and fear, until he met someone who changed his life forever. Once, in a village nestled between the misty hills of northern India, lived a 12-year-old boy named Anu. He was bright, curious, and full of questions, but there was something else inside him, a deep, boiling fire. Anu got angry easily. If someone mocked him, even playfully, his fists would clench. If he lost a game, he would shout and cry. His parents, loving but exhausted, often told him, "You must learn to calm your heart, Anu." But how? No one ever taught him how to be calm. And so his inner storm grew louder with each passing year. One day, during a festival in the village, Anu had a terrible fight with his best friend over a small toy. The shouting turned to pushing and the toy shattered. His friend ran away in tears. Anu was left standing there, heart pounding, eyes filled with rage and regret. That night he sat alone by the river. The moonlight shimmered on the surface, but all he could see was the war inside him. "I hate feeling this way," he whispered. "Why am I like this?" The next morning, a stranger came to the village. He was unlike anyone Anu had seen before. Tall, serene, with eyes that seemed to see through everything. He wore a simple saffron robe and carried nothing but a bowl and a staff. The villagers gathered around him, offering food and asking questions. This man was a wandering monk, a disciple of the great Buddha himself. Anu watched from a distance, curiosity battling his shame. When the monk sat under a Bodhi tree near the river, Anu finally approached. "Sir," he said timidly, "can I ask you something?" The monk smiled gently. "Of course, young one." "Why do I feel angry all the time? Why does my mind hurt even when nothing is wrong?" The monk nodded slowly, as if he had heard this question 1,000 times. "There is a story," he said, "of a tiger and a mirror." Anu blinked. "A tiger?" "Yes," said the monk, his eyes twinkling. "Let me tell you. In a deep forest," the monk began, "there lived a tiger who one day came across a strange object, smooth, shiny, and still. It was a mirror dropped by a traveler. When the tiger looked into it, he saw another tiger staring back at him. Thinking it was a rival, he roared and pounced, but the other tiger roared back with equal rage. The tiger fought for hours, clawing at the mirror, bleeding and exhausted until finally he collapsed, defeated by his own reflection. Anu leaned in, silent. "The tiger," the monk said softly, "was never fighting another tiger. He was fighting himself, his own fear, his own anger. The mirror only showed him what was already inside." Anu swallowed. His heart thumped. "So, my anger is like that?" The monk smiled. "Exactly. We suffer not because of the world, but because of how we respond to it. Calmness is not something you find outside. It is something you uncover within." The gentle wind rustled the leaves above them as Anu sat beside the monk under the old Bodhi tree. The morning sun filtered through the branches, casting shifting shadows on the ground. Birds chirped softly nearby as if nature itself had slowed down to listen. The monk turned to Anu with eyes as calm as the still river. "Tell me, Anu," he said gently, "what is it you truly wish for?" Anu looked down at his bare feet, then at the dirt beneath his fingernails. He hesitated before answering. "I want to stop getting angry all the time. I want to feel peace. But it's like my mind has a mind of its own. Even when I try to be calm, it just explodes." The monk nodded slowly. "Most people live like that. They think peace comes when the world is quiet, but peace comes when the mind is quiet, even in a noisy world." Anu's brow furrowed. "But how can I quiet my mind? It's like there's something inside me, burning." At this, the monk smiled as if Anu had said something very important. "You're right," he said. "There is a fire. In fact, there are 3. Anu's eyes widened. "3? "Yes," the monk said, placing his bowl gently beside him. "The Buddha taught that within every human being there burn 3 fires. Fires that, if left unchecked, consume our happiness, blind our wisdom, and destroy our peace." He drew 3 circles in the dirt with his finger, forming a triangle. "These are the fire of greed, the fire of hatred, and the fire of delusion." The monk pointed to the first circle. "This is greed," he said. "The hunger for more. It is the endless craving we feel, the belief that we are never enough unless we get more. More food, more wealth, more attention, more love, more approval. It is like a thirsty man drinking salt water. The more he drinks, the thirstier he becomes." Anu remembered the festival from months ago when he had cried because his friend got a bigger mango slice than he did. He remembered snatching toys from other children's hands because he felt he needed them to be happy. "But isn't it okay to want things?" Anu asked. "Of course," said the monk. "To wish for a better life is natural. But when wanting becomes clinging, when it consumes your thoughts, blinds your values, or hurts others, then it is no longer desire. It is greed. And greed is a fire that never says, 'Enough.'" Anu sat quietly, chewing on the monk's words. The monk continued, "Many suffer from this fire without knowing. A merchant who never smiles because he wants more gold. A boy who cries not because he is hurt, but because another boy has more marbles. A woman who can't sleep, chasing beauty that fades with time. They are all prisoners of this fire." "And how do we put it out?" Anu asked, his voice soft. "With contentment," the monk replied. "With gratitude. When you are present in this moment and you see the blessings around you, even the small ones, the fire of greed loses its fuel. You no longer chase clouds because you realize the sky was already yours." The monk then pointed to the second circle in the dirt. "This is hatred," he said, his voice now tinged with a deeper resonance. "It is the fire that lashes out, the fire that says, 'I am right and you are wrong.' It burns bridges, it blinds hearts, and sometimes it disguises itself as justice." Anu flinched slightly. His mind went back to the moment he screamed at his friend, the rage that had boiled inside him, the way he had pushed the boy and shattered the toy, and their friendship. I think this one lives inside me a lot," he admitted. The monk nodded. "You are brave to see it, Anu. Many people live with hatred their whole lives and never name it." "Why do we hate?" Anu asked. "Because we feel hurt or afraid," the monk replied. "Because something does not go our way. Hatred is often pain wearing a mask, but like all fires, hatred consumes the one who holds it. Buddha once said, 'Holding on to anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned.'" Anu picked up a pebble and rolled it between his fingers. "Sometimes I feel like I have to be angry, or else people won't listen, or they'll hurt me first." The monk looked into Anu's eyes. "Anger may protect you in a moment, but it is not your friend. It sharpens your tongue, closes your heart, and makes you forget your true nature. Anger is not power. Compassion is. Understanding is." "Then, how do I stop the anger?" "You don't stop it," the monk said. "You understand it. You make peace with it. You breathe with it, and slowly it will loosen its grip." Finally, the monk pointed to the third circle. "This is delusion," he said quietly. "The most dangerous fire of all because we do not see it." Anu tilted his head. "What does it mean?" "Delusion," the monk said, "is the forgetting of who we are. It is the illusion that we are separate, that we are our thoughts, that we are our fear, our anger, our greed. It is when we mistake the passing clouds of emotion for the sky itself." He paused, then reached out and cupped water from a nearby stream. "Look at this water. Clear, isn't it?" Anu nodded. Then the monk dropped a handful of mud into the bowl. The water turned murky. "Now you cannot see through it. This is what delusion does to the mind. It clouds your vision. You think the world is ugly, but it's your eyes that are covered." "How do we make it clear again?" Anu asked. "By letting the mud settle," the monk said, placing the bowl down. "By practicing mindfulness, seeing what arises in the mind without grabbing it or pushing it away. When we sit still, breathe deeply, and look within, the mud settles. The truth becomes visible again." Anu was quiet for a long time. The monk said nothing more, allowing the silence to speak. Finally, Anu asked, "But what if I can't remember all this when I'm angry? What if the fire just takes over?" The monk smiled gently, reached into his robe and pulled out a small, smooth stone. He handed it to Anu. "This is your anchor," he said. "Whenever you feel the fire rising, whether it is greed, hatred, or confusion, hold this stone. Breathe with it, and remember this simple practice. Breathing in, I am aware of my anger. Breathing out, I smile to my anger." Anu held the stone tightly. "Smile to my anger?" "Yes," the monk said. "Not because you like it, but because you understand it. Anger is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Greed is a cry for wholeness. Delusion is the fog before awakening. What you understand, you can transform." He then demonstrated, sitting in lotus posture, eyes closed, and began the breath. Inhale, I see my emotion. Exhale, I smile to my pain. Inhale, I return to this moment. Exhale, I'm at peace. Anu mimicked the posture, feeling a strange new stillness rise inside him. For the first time, he didn't try to escape his thoughts. He simply watched them, like clouds passing through the sky. He felt the small fire of frustration flicker inside him, but it didn't catch flame. Not this time. And then, it passed. The monk opened his eyes and looked at Anu. "How do you feel?" Anu smiled slightly. "Like the world didn't change, but I did." The monk nodded. "Exactly." He stood, brushing dust from his robe. "You will feel the fires again, Anu. That is part of being human. But now, you have a path. The fire can still burn, but you don't have to feed it." Anu held the smooth stone in his hand, as if it were the most precious thing in the world. Not because it was rare, but because it now held meaning. He stood and bowed. "Thank you, Master." The monk touched his palms together. "Thank yourself, young one. For the courage to look within is the greatest courage of all." As they walked back toward the village, Anu saw the world differently. Not because the trees had changed or the sky was brighter, but because his mind was clearer. And for the first time in a long while, he felt peace. Over the next few days, Anu visited the monk daily. He learned to breathe, to sit, to walk slowly, mindfully. He began noticing when anger started to rise, and instead of lashing out, he would pause and breathe. It wasn't magic. His emotions didn't disappear, but they no longer controlled him. One evening, his friend, the one he had hurt, came near the river. Awkward silence hung between them. "I'm sorry," Anu said. "I broke the toy, and our friendship." His friend looked surprised, then smiled. "I missed you," Anu smiled too. And for the first time in a long time, he felt light inside. The story of Anu is not just a tale of a boy and a monk. It is a mirror, perhaps even for you. When we look within and see the emotions that disturb us, not with hatred or shame, but with curiosity and compassion, we begin to heal. The Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." And also, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause, breathe, smile, and remember Anu's journey, from the storm to the stillness. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who may need a little more peace in their life. And if you'd like to hear more Buddhist wisdom and tales like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. What emotion are you learning to make peace with today? Until next time, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at peace.